Hey everybody, welcome to the third episode of the eSports Racing Canada podcast. I'm your host Blip, Kevin, and this is Daniel Blanco from ASN Canada, volunteer director of eSports. You all know him well if you're in the community. If you're not, well, join the community, get on the Discord, and join up. So, Daniel, what are we talking about today? We're going to start with some personal updates. What's going on? I got, I'm happy. It's spring. Cars are out on the road. I've got horse fur all over my GTI, and that's bad. But they're starting to, it's starting to get a lot better.
What a weird problem. What a weird problem to have, man. Like my car's been parked all winter, right?
Yeah.
Well, not parked all winter, but like I take it out occasionally.
Yeah.
And I had to you probably remember this. I had to get a new ECU because I had that code that was burnt into it.
Yes, that's
so
right.
Mine just sat there getting dusty all winter. And then I just got that put in the other day and put my car to the test immediately, and she runs just fine now. And then meanwhile, you're like taking your GTI, and it's basically just a utility vehicle, right?
It basically is right now. Like a lot of people in the Volkswagen community would probably have some words for me, just because. But I think it's just because I wanted a daily drive. It's so hard to find a manual car that's brand new. Right.
What year is that?
And it's 2024. So it's not like, so I've had it for just over 2 years now. I got it in the middle of winter, actually, just how my lease fell. But it's hard because like my wife and I both drive manual. In fact, like Kat has never driven, she's driven automatic cars, but she's never owned one in her life. So
nice, commitment.
Yeah, it's commitment. So now it's getting more difficult because it's like, well, what do you want to get? Like, you want to get a, like, you can't get a truck that's manual anymore. I think maybe the Tacoma, but they're so hard to find and you can't really do much with them pull wise. And then you're like, like SUVs, forget it, right? There's nothing there. So it's like, well, do I get a hatchback which I can actually use for stuff, or do I get an M2 that is ridiculously expensive? It's just gonna hemorrhage money.
That could do something, right? Like, you need something that could actually provide some utility.
Yeah, exactly. And something that can actually still be fun, because it's still 250 horse. Like, the torque's almost 300 pound-feet of torque, like right at 1700. So you still get like that exciting drive feel when you're driving. It's got 19-inch wheels with Y-rated tires. It's fun to to go on ramps around, like down like winding roads and stuff. So it's like the best of both worlds. It's like you get the utility.
How heavy is it again?
Heavy? Oh, it's like about 3,000 pounds. So your car's lighter.
Mine's like 27, like 50 or something.
So yeah. Yours is a lot lighter, but it's.
But that's why people like GTIs, or that must be why people like.
They just feel they're not the most. They're not the quickest cars, but they feel like you feel planted on the road.
Yeah,
and that's what I love.
Same thing for my car. My car's not the quickest car, but like, it's just planted, and you feel everything. Like, the car's very mechanical, grippy, so it's just. Like, you just feel like the motor is very lively, and you can just feel everything and hear it too, because there's not a lot of suppression happening. There's nothing to the car, so it's just, you hear a lot of intake and a lot of motor all the time. So, and it's just raw, super stiff, but it's just good now to be able to drive now. And it's not, everything is like soaking wet and melting water, or melting snow rather, and covered in water, and getting hit with snowstorms every 3 days. Like, now we're finally in the clear. So
finally
now it's ready to go. I don't know, like, I honestly, for me, what have I been up to lately? I've just been doing stock car racing on iRacing. We've got some projects just with the other jobs that I have going on, where my biggest personal project is like the other than this is my nostalgia series over Grid Finder. So that one started off really, really fun, and we had Daytona last week, and I've really worked hard on like my craft at super speedway racing, and I had a blast. Like,
good stuff, man. That's awesome.
The Gen 4s, and you're racing at old, like, we used the old Daytona on iRacing.
Yeah,
it's so bumpy, but it's so fun, man. To like so maybe on like not regular, like the updated versions of the super speedways, like, I want to say that on the 08 version, no lap is really the same when you're racing in the pack. if you're racing like single file or you're fuel saving or something, it's every lap's the same type deal.
Yeah.
But when you're racing in the pack and people are on edge and you're actually trying to get your line moving and create runs and even risk maybe going through the middle, everyone's kind of a bit more intense and maybe they're not sure how to follow in line and stuff. And on the paved one, maybe it's easier to anticipate that type of stuff, like movement. And there's less to negotiate. But on the bumps, you had to like, if you had a run on someone and you knew that there was a bump coming, like, or at least this is how I felt. I was like, I don't want to put too much air underneath the back of him because he could, if he starts getting squirrely and we're running at the front of this pack and there's cars up around us, like, I don't know if I want to do that. So it changes your preparation for every corner, and you're looking at the cars all around you, like bouncing around, and they're beautiful paint schemes. Like most of them are like throwbacks to 03, 04, 05, right? Like those types of paint schemes. And man, I don't know, that series that I run, I have so much fun driving in that series, man.
So remind me, Gen 4 is right before the car tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
So that was Gen 4. So yeah,
Gen 4 goes all the way until 08. Yeah, and then they stepped right into that big winged weird car of tomorrow thing.
Okay, well then, yeah. So rather, because I think
if
I would enjoy.
Know what we're talking about. This is NASCAR.
Yes, NASCAR. So I think I would enjoy trying that at some point. Just trying one race. Not that I would do very well, but I
please,
please
do it.
I would love to, because nostalgia for me. I think because I've probably said it before on the podcast in a previous episode, but like my dad watched a lot of NASCAR when I was a kid, so I grew up watching that in the 90s, and so NASCAR Racing 2 was my NASCAR game that I played for the longest time. Like I even had made myself a little helmet out of a cardboard. My mom like cut it up and whatever, and I had put like Marlboro on the side and stuff like that. And I had put it on top of my and I used to race with that.
I don't know if you ever told me this.
No, maybe I didn't go into that. Yeah, and I had my CH Virtual Pilot Pro. So my parents had got me a because I used to do a lot of play a lot of airplane games like US Navy fighters,
flight sims and stuff
and all that stuff. Yeah, the flight sims. So they got me a CH Virtual Pilot Pro, and it was like a yoke. So which is kind of funny because back then you're like, oh, that's not a real steering wheel. Well, today it is, because they're using like the yoke styles in the cars now, right?
As if you drove with a yoke. That's hilarious.
Drove with a yoke, no force feedback.
Familiar. You may have told me this before.
Yeah, maybe.
I bet you it's one of the damn podcasts.
It probably is, exactly.
We talk about so much that we forget about it. Right?
Exactly. But I had this yoke, and no force feedback. It would push in and out as well, but I just used it sideways. And then the pedals were these gigantic pedals about like that big, and it was like the gas and the brake, but it was the rudder pedals.
Yeah, the rudders are huge.
So you just had like gas, brake, and that's all you need. That's all you needed. There was no clutch systems back then or anything like that. So
I'd love to see you in the Gen 4, man.
And and then we moved on to NASCAR season 2003 afterwards, which is why I think I would still have, sort of the memory of the vague.
So you drove that game then? Did you drive it religiously? Like, did you
yeah. Like it was one of the games that I played like several times per week.
That game still stands up.
Yeah, it is. I know.
That game
is
fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure isn't half the team from iRacing like from Papyrus?
They might be. I'm not sure about that, but it could be. Papyrus had
it's been so long since I feel like I've read that somewhere like ages ago. I don't know.
Papyrus games were part of my childhood, man. Like they were like IndyCar racing, Papyrus IndyCar racing from like '93. That was another one that I played just as much as NASCAR.
Oh, that's right.
It had the ovals and the street circuits, and but it was pretty sophisticated, like what you could change on the car. It was kind of like an evolution of the Indy 500, the simulation, and like you could like actually like change like boost levels while you were racing. Like the NASCAR games had a lot of stuff too, but like this one was like it was pretty impressive. But those were
deeper technically by the sounds of it.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is I could never actually finish a road course race in that. Whereas actually in NASCAR racing 2003, I could actually do well at Watkins Glen or Sears Point.
Well, why couldn't you finish a race on the IndyCar one?
I was so hard. I don't understand. I guess it was just I didn't understand the concept back then, and
you're an oval guy.
I guess I was. I guess I was, because I used to win all the oval races in IndyCar. In the game, I used to win that. I guess it's just so maybe I need to
in a Gen 4. We have eSports Racing Canada drivers in there. There's already 2.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna talk about this because I want to talk about my time trial experience. We touched on that briefly when we were doing the preparing the podcast, but I had a mixed experience with my time trial experience for Formula 1600,
and this is the time trial that's here. Right?
Yeah,
this is
for
the eSports Racing Canada
exactly
time trial,
that one. So that's the one for
that we run every
own
week, and we give away iRacing gift cards to anyone who's not a staff member. They could be eligible. Just got to run 20 laps a week. So you got to do.
Yeah, 20 laps. So imagine 20 laps a week, and you get a gift card. And technically, if you're lucky, you could win every week.
An entry for a gift card.
Yeah, it's not. And I think it's good to say too. It's not based on performance. So like you don't have to be the best. You just participate, and you have a chance to win.
We're just going to reward you for getting the reps in. Right. Okay. Back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I was thinking maybe I should try to actually do some oval time trials in our own time trials with ERC.
Oh right. Oh, the oval. Okay.
Yeah, which David is running, right?
Yes. I forgot about that. I forget. I got too much on my mind. All right, that's what's going on here. So yes, the short, but that's short track stuff. Are you a short track guy? Because
why not? I know you got to use the brakes, but hey, why not?
Tracks.
You don't like short track? You're a super speedway guy.
Well, I just don't like.
Yeah.
Maybe I say that, and maybe I just don't get it yet because I've always sucked at short tracks. I honestly just never had the finesse. It does require a finesse to get good at it, and I don't know. Like we had a race in the league. I don't know if it was 3 or 4 weeks ago. That head cold just like ruined my. I had a head cold for like 2 weeks. Honestly, I just had like no brain capacity. But somewhere in the middle of all that, I raced with Bryce, a member here, really hard at. I couldn't even tell you. Maybe it was South Boston or something. I couldn't tell you the track. And I've never driven whatever it was. I don't think I've ever driven it before. And it was in the street stock. It's a free track. I've never driven it. And we ended up having this battle in the middle of the race. And to his surprise, I told him after the race, because he ends up getting into me later in the race. He just like cleaned me out, dumped me. I keep bugging him about it. But we were driving for the win. So like, whatever. Yeah. But I told him after, I was like, I was driving as hard as I could. I was driving that thing as hard as I could. Within parameters of like trying to save tires and get it to the end. And it was the second race that we do because we always do 2 races a week. It's the same type of strategy where we give you an iRacing official race and then we kind of flip the grid and actually just kind of extend it. So you get some reps with trying to pass people and deal with the flow of people passing you and you're under stress. And, if you mess up, it's like, we don't care. Like we're kind of expecting some chaos. So, like we don't really care about that. But it was on the second race that Bryce got a good lead. I managed to get up through some cars, got up to second place, started wearing him down and just like trying to make up the gap. And then there was because to set up a pass takes ages. So it's just, I was on him and I can't just send it. I'm not going to clean us out. So like working every lap to try to get a fender under him so that he'll have to push a lane up going into the corner. And then we'll try to navigate that as we get there. And I think looking back on it, he could have done a better job maybe trying to protect that run, but I was trying to size him up and it was a great practice. Damn it. Like it was. I usually really suck at that stuff, but the street stock at South Boston was a riot. Like it was really fun.
Yeah.
And trying to wear him down and get a pass on him, I was like, okay, I feel like I could do this. And I ended up finally getting around him, but I used up all my tires. So like once I ended up getting around him, he drove me so clean. And then I just had a blast trying to get by him, like trying to use every inch of the track until I knew I had the run that I needed to get a nose up underneath him off the corner. And you're trying to do that and you're trying to keep your tires from sliding around. You have to be so consistent to keep them from sliding, or else as soon as you slide them, you roast them. So then you got to back off for a few laps. Like you have to be precise, man. And I was so locked in. I had such a great time. And then with like 5 laps to go, I slid up the track a little bit and Bryce just dumped me. He just didn't lift like in the middle of the corner. He checked up, but I think I just caught him off guard with how much I kind of lost speed in that corner because there was a car on my outside and I lost my references.
And he just saw the opportunity, went for it, but then
I don't even think he did. Like I slid up about half a lane, maybe 3/4 of a lane, but I kept it there. I wasn't out of shape too hard. I think I was in a bit of a 4-wheel slide. And I wasn't gonna let it wash up because I didn't want to open the door. So I wanted to try to almost dime into the corners, like slide in, and be like, all right, well, scrub some speed off, and then I'll just flat, like try to get a straight line out. And what threw me off was there was a lap car on the outside, and I just wasn't sure about how much I should compensate. So I went in a little early, and the tires were so hot at this point. Any kind of compensation like that offline, the right rear just was not going to take it. So I just went into the corner and I was like, oh no, I'm sliding up. And I think he went in because he saw me sliding, but didn't anticipate that maybe I'd keep it that shallow. Like I wouldn't let it wash up. And then he couldn't react in time, I don't think. And he got into me and I was fuming. I was genuinely so pissed off. I was like, man, and then he keyed up immediately and was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, I'm not gonna say anything. And then we just kept going, and I was like, I don't know why I'm so pissed off.
But it was your fault because you were where you should not have been.
Well,
you gave him a false opportunity, Daniel.
Well, I mean, he let his car roll through the center pretty quick there, but I mean, I see what you mean. Like, I wish we had the replay up or something, but like it was such good. Anyway, going back to what you're saying, like it was such good reps to get it in.
Yeah.
Because I just suck at short track racing. And that was honestly, I think, a good example of like we could break that down and say that was maybe there's people in that moment that started to slide and they'd be like, I'm going to chase it up the hill. I'm going to let him go by because now my tires are going to be scorched. But I raced really hard to try to like earn that. Like I don't do that stuff a lot. I do like I prefer the fast ovals. So I just don't do short track, street stock. I don't do it. So it was like that moment of like, no, this is the competitor in me. I'm racing right now. Like I'm trying to get this freaking win. And I'm not trying to just like mosey around. Like I'm racing this guy. I'm trying to do this. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that I was all in a huff, you know, because because it's something I care about. Like I want to get better at short track racing. I want to get better at saving my tires. I am terrible for saving tires. I just want to drive it hard all the time. So it's hard to hop into a race at that point and then say like, okay, I'm going to just drive softly. I'm going to try to find a soft limit for the car for the next 40 laps. And then I'm going to start pushing. But then when you're pushing, you're not banging it off the rev limiter. You're not driving on edge, but you are, because you're trying to you're within like a safe limit.
Yeah.
You know, there's some certain parameters that you're now working within, and it's not just a 5-lap shootout.
And that's almost more difficult because then you gotta drive as hard as you can within that limit. So when you're driving as hard as you possibly can, I feel like it's less difficult because then you're just like pedal to the floor, you know, just going to the max. Whereas here it's like you're trying to be efficient but yet drive as fast as possible. I find it's hard to do that.
Totally. Like it's a very weird mindset. Like I was just bugging you about come over to the Gen Force, drive the Gen Force, man. Like do this with me because I'm having a blast here. But I go into those races and I blow apart my right front tire all the time. And my buddies always like, dude, you're driving every lap like a hot lap. Like David, our guy. He's always like, you drive it too hard. You're driving it too deep. You're scrubbing. You're using the high line. You're doing. But me, I'm just like, I'm having fun. You know, like I'm just driving the Gen 4 and it feels good. And like,
exactly.
I just drive it to where it feels good for me. And I don't know if I really care about anything else, which is really interesting. I feel like a lot of people in the league probably just like in our community, that's what they're doing. They're just going out there or maybe the majority, maybe it's half. How many of them are actually trying to fish around and, you know, analytically break down the race, like with trying to think about how much tires you're going to be using versus just like going out there and just having fun, like whipping this thing around. But essentially getting back to what you're saying, like that mindset of like, I need to feel, or I don't know, this is me, this is how I feel. I don't know 100%. I've never really studied this that hard. I've always just been an arrive and drive guy. So for me, it's like, I don't know where to kind of go sometimes to save the tire, but I try to feel for what's scrubbing the least. And then once I get that feeling of like, that felt easy in my hand, so that must have been easy on the car. So how do I hit that line harder? And then you work within, this is how I do it. And then I work within that set of parameters. And I see like, how fast can I push it without using the wheel as much? And like, how hard are they getting if I use brakes versus coasting in? And what if I diamond? What if I just wrap the bottom? You know, what if I drive in deep and come out high? What if I want to, what do they call it? Like, what's the dirt move? You know what I mean? You know, when you slide job. There you go, slide job. And you like kind of throw it. Like, so anyway, all these parameters that you're kind of thinking about, they're off the start because you guys save tires from the start. So it was really interesting. Like that whole race, I've been competing in some of these like oval development league races just to like kind of get used to feeling the tire and like get used to short track racing because I suck at it. And it's been this common theme of like, well, I drove this hard. What's your tire at? And then we'll just kind of break it all down and I'll be like, man, I feel like I did nothing all race. I feel like I barely drove it.
Yeah.
And I saw that guy driving as hard as he can. He was sliding around everywhere. And our tires are like 2 percentage points off one another at the end. But maybe their temperatures are like completely out of whack. So for that, it's been an interesting experience actually to drive in the dev league, just because I don't know, I just don't really do that kind of stuff. I just arrive and drive it, and it's starting to get tight now, so I've used up my tire. So yeah, I think you should. I think I will.
Yeah, I think I will give it a try. I'll get a try with time trial, and then I'll have a try with
right. Yeah.
No,
the time trial would be good. Yeah,
to get kind of used to it, and then I think I'd jump into a race. But Gen 4 for me is kind of
I'd love to see you.
If I look at what home is for me when NASCAR is concerned, is Gen 4, because that's what the most driving I did in Gen 4 in NASCAR was the Gen 4 cars as far as sims are concerned. So for me, that's definitely would be kind of a throwback.
So we got some ERC drivers over there. I don't want to talk about my personal projects too much, but I mean, we do have Bryce Patterson and then Garrick, who, funny enough, is an old high school friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
Garrick Hubbard. It's crazy to see him here. It's so cool. But they're both over there repping eSports Racing Canada DEI type paint scheme, like Dale Earnhardt Incorporated.
Oh, nice.
So it's super cool to see them. I'm kind of thinking the paint scheme behind you there would look pretty cool on a Gen 4 if we made something like that.
Probably. Yeah, it would actually.
Yeah, I was just kind of looking at that and thinking about it. Anyway, I'm getting off, but you run. I would say dip your toes into the street stocks first, because now that we're done with Daytona, it's a tough calendar.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna go to like Auto Club and then Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix!
Well, that's a tough one. Yeah,
it's so fun too. I love Phoenix. You can just use so much of the track. And man, I don't know how. So you say you're like Gen 4 is your home. We'll wrap this up here soon. But like you say your home is the Gen 4. When I roll out of pit road with that thing, I'm listening to that thing just screaming at me. And I used to race in VR, and I don't know if you race in VR. But no, you said you have motion.
I can't, because I love it. It would be the only thing I would do if I could do it, but I can't. Yeah.
When I was racing VR with it, which I haven't for a while, just because I like to just plug and play, and that thing takes too much maintenance. But man, just the immersion and just being able to look around the cockpit, and it just feels like you're there. And then you could actually see when you clear someone. Like, I think VR really makes a difference on oval racing. But
because of how much you can see.
Just because I could look over and I could actually see if I'm going to clear someone, and I could actually look on my inside and see how far down the door they are from me, and not just use the virtual mirror. I really like that. But man, it does scream. If you're a NASCAR Racing 2003 guy, when you're in the cockpit and you see the gauges and the layout and everything, I swear they were all the same for like 4 or 5 years there. So it just feels like, oh my god, it's like I'm racing on NASCAR Thunder again.
Exactly, the one, like season 2003, all the old papyrus.
That's where I met David. I met David on NASCAR Thunder 2004, back in like, oh man, I don't even know what year it was. 06. Jesus, I've known that guy for a long time.
Somewhere around there, yeah. Wow,
that's crazy. But man, wonderful. I would freaking love to see you.
Well, I will. I'm going to show up to do at least one of those. At least I'm going to do the time trial for sure. I'm going to try to do it like every week, get some practice and get something, because I'm trying to find right now. I'm trying to find my footing. Okay, and we talked about this a bit in the last podcast, but I thought, I said, you know what? I said so to give a little bit of a overview of my experience driving. Okay, like I've been driving a car since I'm 36. I'm driving a car since I'm 16. Like literally, like the day I turned 16, I went to get my driver's license. But I loved going to do go-karting, stuff like that. But I did, like, my parents basically, because I didn't play any like sports like hockey. I played baseball a little bit, but racing was always like, oh, like I love cars. My dad's a mechanic. Like he's been like doing it for like over 50 years. So like for me, like cars were just always in my life. And so when I turned, I think it was I was still 16 actually. I was still on my learner's permit. And I told my mom, I'm like, I'd like to drive a race car. My mom was like, you know,
are you nuts?
Yeah, are you nuts? So we looked some stuff up and whatever, and finally we ended up, she said, you know what? She said there's this place in Mont Tremblant, it's not far. And there's these things called these Formula 2000s. And I was like, oh, I'm like, well, what does it look like? So I look at it, and to me at the time, I'm like, oh, it looks just like kind of like an F1 car, right? Like it's like that same similar thing, those open wheel cars.
Open wheel, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to try. And then I find out that these things are 4-speed manuals, and you have to heel toe downshift, which I have no clue what that even is. So I was practicing on, and was it actually on that or not? I think it was, but I feel like Forza Motorsports 3 had a clutch system. And I don't remember if it was after that I got Forza 3 or before, but I feel like it was at a similar time, but I kind of started understanding that concept. So maybe I'm getting my story mixed up as if like one was before the other, but either way, I get in this car and I've got to learn how to heel toe downshift. And so I understand the concept of shifting. That's not a problem. But then you're driving quick. There's like, you know, and Mont Tremblant is not like iCar and Mirabel where like there's no walls and there's no like this is like an old yeah, like old school circuit like most sport, you know. And so I'm going, you know, into this course, and my instructor was JF Dumoulin. So who is like, you know, as far as like Canadian like you know, drivers go, he's like a legend, right? Like in the circuits around here. So anyways, so he starts to you know, so he's like my main instructor, and we're getting instruction on that. Well, the first exercise I did heel toe downshifting, I almost ran him over.
Oh my god, that's that story.
Yeah, right. Because he's standing on the side of the track, and of course I'm you know, so coming in hot, right? And the whole point is they got these cones set up, and they're like, you need to blip and downshift every time you go past a cone. Well, you're not going like a crazy speed, but you're going fast enough. And so, and he's just standing on the side watching you, and he's like this, and he's just watching you, and he's like got this stern look on his face. So I'm coming in, and then I go from fourth down to third and down to second. But as I'm going down to second, I've got my big New Balance shoes. I didn't understand what the concept was of an actual
like driving shoe.
Flat-soled shoe. So I'm so I'm hitting the brake and the gas at the same time when the clutch is engaged. So now the car's not stopping as I hit second, and I'm like trying to stop. It's not stopping. And he's just going whoa whoa whoa, and he has his foot there, and he just gets his foot out of the way, and I go right by him, and then I lock 4-wheel lock, you know, and he's going whoa, what are you doing? He's just like losing his mind at me, and I'm like, I don't know what happened, you know. So anyway, so
your shoe got caught and held
in the thing. So we do debrief afterwards. And he's trying to figure out, and he's like, dude, he's like, you need to go get new shoes. So my parents had to drive me into Saint-Javit to get some new shoes. Then the rest of that weekend was insane because I go from practicing in the dry. Well, actually, it wasn't in the weekend. It was during the week. It was a full week thing. And so I go from practicing in the dry to racing in the wet, passing cars and everything.
Oh, jeez.
It was nuts. And it was just the way the progression was, but it was October, so it was freezing.
Sounds stressful.
Freezing cold. It was honestly the most stressful experience of my life. But looking back on it, no, it really was. Because like I've got this like $100,000 car, and I'm like, I don't want to destroy it. It's like, you know, it's like if you basically like I was insured because like it was a pretty expensive like academy package, whatever. But they're like, if you wreck the car, you're done. That's it. You go home. So I'm trying not to do that.
I'd send you home too if you wrecked one of my $100,000.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So like this thing, and it's like, you know, you don't understand this when you're that age, right? You're like, you've never driven cars like some of these guys now. Like I look at like Christian and George and Charles. You know, these guys all have real racing experience now. Like actually, George Griffiths is if anybody wants to follow him, he's actually racing this weekend. So check out his Instagram.
Yeah. So he did race yesterday.
Yeah,
by the way,
yeah, he did. It was yesterday. Yeah. So he'll be racing in the Mazda. Is it the MX-5 Cup Canada Cup? I think
it's like Mazda Cup Canada.
Canada, yeah, exactly. So that's pretty cool. But you know, and then Charles has driven. He showed me some videos. He's driven some stock cars. Like he's even driven like an Xfinity car. And then you've got like Christian. He's actually racing Formula 1600s, I think, down in the US right now. And there's some like, you know, this is where you start to see like you're driving these racing games and you're doing sims. Now all of a sudden there's real consequences to what you do. So so I start to race these cars, and all of a sudden now, not only am I learning how to drive manual, I'm trying to learn what downforce is, because I don't really understand that concept. Like maybe today, someone who does sim racing would understand it better because it translates, right? Like, because you're like, but back then, like the sim like software was not that good back then. Like the tracks were not laser scanned, so you don't really fully understand what's going on, and you're like, damn. Like,
so if you were to hop back on now, right, and because you've done a little bit, you've been getting back into it now that we've been involving you in all this. Now you're starting to sniff around the sim. Do you think you'll end up in something like downforce? Do you think you're going to end up doing?
I don't think so.
A downforce car, or do you think you'd rather start off maybe back with the loosey goosey?
I can tell you right now for certainty, I will not even stocks. No, I will be not going near downforce cars again.
Mechanical grip, MX-5 kind of thing.
And I'll tell you why I will not be going near downforce cars again. Because when I drove a Formula 2000 in real life, okay, you know what my problem was? Being told that you're not driving the car fast enough.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it for real, it's scary enough. Okay, it is like, because you're being told to, like in the rain, obviously no, right? And then you learn to finally control the car. At every corner, you're like, you know, counter steering to try to keep the thing straight. And it's like back ends trying to.
It's a weird concept, man. To understand that the car has that much grip, you can commit to it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a limit in there somewhere. Then, and it'll stay planted. Like you'll
be all right. So JF Dumoulin tried to teach me that, and he you know, I actually got a good. So I wasn't part of the group where because he brought a few people aside afterwards and said, okay, you need to pursue a career in motorsports. I was not part of that group because I was still new to it all. But you know, he gave me a pat on the back.
That's and he said, first experience.
Yeah, and for JF Dumoulin to give you a pat on the back and say, hey man, like you did for a guy who's barely driven a real car and has never done go-karting other than going to like the local kids track. He's like, you did well. And he gave me a pat on the back and he said, you know what, man? He's like, keep practicing, keep pursuing it. Cause he's like, you did the real thing today. And I remember when he told me that, and I was like, man, like I was proud because like for a guy like that to tell me that, you know what, I did well.
You'll never forget that.
In full wet conditions where I'm talking about, like, I'm not talking about a drizzle. I'm talking about like red flag where they actually had to take us off the track. I have a video somewhere on an old JVC camcorder. I've got an old video where my dad is parked in the safari van in the parking lot, and he's got the wipers on. He's parked and he's got the wipers on full blast, full speed to be able to see out. That's how bad it was raining, and we're awesome. Driving out there. I was soaked. I was frozen. It is October, so it's like 9 degrees out in the rain. Yeah. Like the car has no grip. So it was like, so anyways, needless to say that I now am not afraid to drive anything on the road in the rain. Okay. Like,
right.
It is just,
you experience the worst, rubbered up
experience the worst. Yeah, no exactly.
Grip.
Yeah. And I got,
so you're not surprised by anything.
No, exactly. But because I got such a short amount of experience in the dry, I was never able to get quite up to speed. And JF was like, basically you need to work on two things. He's like, you need to push harder in the dry, and you need to work on your heel toe, because he's like, because that is commitment. Now it's not really a thing anymore, because
that brings me like, George. I think about George and just like, he's an open wheel dude. So one of our coaches, George Griffiths, and I I think that it would be really interesting to kind of document like what we would need to learn and the process of going from, I don't call myself a downforce guy. I don't know what you would say about yourself, but it's
Definitely
hard
not.
for me to think that I could commit and work within the parameters of what I could see the open wheel car giving me. I've never really understood those limits.
Yeah.
But stock car stuff has always landed well with me, and I guess everything is moving a little slower, but man, I don't know, it's just fun. So like, I wonder what that process would be like, right? Because I've always kind of thought like, George, man, let's do like a 6-week thing or a 6-session thing, and let's get me from being terrible with trusting downforce, and like, let's see where I could like push the ceiling and like help me understand this. That's a good idea. You write that down. That's going to be a series that we're going to do, and we're going to try to get me and you to like, we'll do them, we'll pay him and everything. We're going to go through the whole process with George, and George is going to try to teach us how to drive those stupid things.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a good idea because I'm telling you right now,
I struggle with the same thing. That's why it came to mind, is because I've done karting. I've done lots of karting, but like, I don't know, man. Like the commitment thing on the sim, maybe it's a feeling thing. Maybe it is visual. Maybe it's not us,
that's a good point, because that's another thing I was going to say, because that's what I noticed in today, because, and I don't know, I could be talking through my butt. I have no idea, but I look at it and I say, okay, back in like 09, 10, when like iRacing first came out, I was good at this. And the reason I can tell you I was good at this is because when I was touring with a company called PC Sims, so basically they were building simulators back then. They don't exist anymore, but like that was back before VR. And I was touring with them. I was doing an internship, and I was going to tracks, real world tracks, with guys from and girls from Star Mazda. So remember the Star Mazda, the Formula cars?
The old school Star Mazda.
So I was competing with them. Now they were actually racing in real life at the same time. We went to like Sebring, VIR, places like that, right? So we'd actually we'd have the sim rig in their trailer, and people would come by and they would try it, whatever. But these guys would also be practicing on it. And so what I found most difficult was that it was like they were like trying to translate from like the real thing to the track. I found it difficult because I was not out on the track. So I was, only in a sim. So I didn't have that dual experience that they had, but I could still keep up with their times. Like we had a board, and these were, they were racing out there for real, these people. And I'm right there with them on the time. So I know that I had decent skill. Today though, I can't, like I did the Formula 1600 time trial. Not even close. Like I did 20 laps. I was like, man, I did a good lap.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Great time. I thought for sure this is going to be good. And the next thing I know, I'm going like down the order. I'm like, oh man.
Well, they're used to it, man. They've been driving these stupid little open wheel cars since the beginning of the year.
Exactly. So it just shows it's like I need some training. I need to get back into it.
I want to see you in it, man. Yeah. I want to see you in the weekly races. Pick a damn development league and get in there, because I think I just want to hear, like, I'd love to sort of deep dive into like you're getting back into it now. You're relearning these things, and after quite a time away from it that you had. And I would just love to see like where you'd fit in on the grid, what kind of things you're feeling. And then for us to deep dive here, I'm sure it's just going to be an extension of what they're feeling themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm hoping it's a relearn, because
put my formats to the test. We need to know, man.
I'm hoping. So I got to pick one. So I don't think it's going to be formulas until I get some deep training from George, but maybe MX5, maybe, because I do like those. One. Or ovals, and I think, and stock cars and stuff like that. So I think it might be a dual thing where I do a little bit of both. But I'm just hoping that it is a relearn, because
just do the whole this 1 week you do 1600, and then or I guess you're gonna wait till you get to Mazda, and then the next week you do street stocks, and then every now and then you're gonna do my Gen 4 series, because you've already planted that seed now. So
now I have no choice, because I told you. But I want to go into it, and I want to see, because I heard kind of it was not a sad thing, but I watch World Racing League, WRL, because my friend Billy races in it. And so sometimes they interview people, because they're like 8-hour and 7-hour endurance races. They do 2 on a weekend. And basically, so I usually like they'll interview people, and they interviewed Tommy Kendall. And I don't know if you remember him, but he was basically like 4-time SCCA Trans Am champion and he did. I'm pretty sure he might have been in some IROC races back then as well, because like he was a pretty big name in sports car racing. And I was listening to him talk in the interview, and he was talking about being at Road America and how he was like one of the fastest guys in the 90s at that track, in the 2000s or whatever. And he's saying that now that he's like older, he was like, I can't compete as much. He's like, I know what I'm doing, but he's like, I somehow can't keep up with the younger guys. And I'm like, is that what's happening to me? Is that like, I was better back then and now I'm not? Or maybe if I'm lucky, it's just that I need to relearn. And that's what I need to see. That's what I need to see.
There's seat time, and iRacing probably feels a whole lot different.
It feels a lot different.
Like when I transitioned from R Factor, this was so damn long ago and probably sounds stupid now, but like the kids, like the coaches, for example, like it's not like Jean came in with no experience. He was, he was well oiled, I guess you'd say, around Assetto Corsa. He's been around and in it, and then he jumped from a modern sim to just a what would we call iRacing, like a more advanced modern sim. So technical maybe. So there's a transition period there where he had to get used to it, and now the guy qualified for PECNA, right? Like he's up there giving our coaches a good push. Some of which have extensive experience, but they're all kind of around the same window. I remember coming over from R Factor to iRacing, and like that learning. I mean, it was also about the time I had to like go do like real world shit.
Yeah.
But in this process, like I just remember like relearning the tire model and adjusting to the physics, and just why am I looping it everywhere? And then I just, because I was at such a casual level and just not as dedicated as I could be when I'm just like, I'm pushing my homework off so I could, go to summer school again, but I want a simulation, you know what I'm saying? So all that time, it's so much time. So I got used, it took me years to get used to iRacing, like actual years, even just arriving driving and actually kind of trying to work on my stuff. It took me almost, I want to say it was like 1.5 years, 2 years to actually get used to it and like feel like I could be confidently competitive. And then I took another run at it 4 or 5 years ago. Well, was it even? It was maybe like 2018, 2019. Yeah. And then I started getting a lot of consistent reps in, finding my leagues where I wanted to race and like picking a series and just like chipping away at it. Yep. So I think don't wave that flag yet of like, I'm old, so now I'm just going to be slow. Like, I think you're going to get some reps in, you might be the same as me here, where I got to pick a car and just I got to hammer down onto that one and just reps, just get reps and feel where the hell the limit is, and like go out with these guys and get back into battling. And so then you're not scared and start running into people so that you're like, all right, well, that's where my front end is. Cool. Okay. Well, now I've crashed a guy. Cool. Sorry, man. And then you just keep doing that until eventually you're like, all right, now I know how to work it and
figure it out.
It takes reps though. It takes reps. You're going to need to do
absolutely right.
Like 20 or 30 races in the MX5.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be like, okay, all right, I think I'm close. Maybe I'm close. Right. And then you're going to need to then you're going to go drive the M2 or the street stock or the GR86. And you're like, what the heck, man? These things suck. Like, I don't understand these. And then you're going to keep pushing through until you eventually get to a GT4 and you're like, all right, I think I got this now. So it's all about reps, man. Just get the reps in, use the systems we have in front of you, and then you leave.
And that's true. And the systems are there. And I think it's also too, I think it's a good, a good point to make here is that there's also a psychological aspect to it, right? So we think about what's your mental state when you're driving this stuff, because like this is, so when you're in real life, there's high stakes, right? There's accidents that can happen, people can get hurt, all that stuff. With sim racing, you think, it's just a game, right? It's fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, like, it's still a sport, right? You get, whether you're playing, football or baseball or hockey, there's still like I guess, how could I say it? There's still like that competitive aspect, right? So even though you're not interacting with people like, blood and sweat and real life and all that stuff. You're still doing it. And you're interacting with these people online.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. I think right at the beginning when you know you don't have the pace, but that
and then you're afraid to put a foot wrong or to hit, and then you hit somebody for the first time. You're like, oh man, like what did I do? Like and then you start to go through the whole process and like what that does to your mental state, right? It's like, so for me, it's kind of weird because when I get in and I start racing, I can't be in the front. So if you put me on pole position, I'm going to do worse than if I'm in dead last, because it's like when I'm in dead last, I'm like, I have nothing to lose. I'm chasing other cars. Pressure. I'm hungry. I'm aggressive. People. And that's when I do my best lap times, right? When I'm chasing, sometimes it's like, whoa, I just busted out a fast lap. What happened? I'm faster than the leader. Why? Because it's like I'm chasing. I'm going actually. But when I'm up front, okay, I get this
all
thing.
The pressure's on you. Everyone's coming after you.
I get this thing where my foot starts shaking on the accelerator pedal.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. It just happens. And funny enough, I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I guess, I'm messed up. Like I got this. And then I hear an interview with Nico Rosberg talking with Jenson Button about his championship win in 2016, I think it was, in Formula One. And he was saying on the last lap before he won the championship, when Lewis Hamilton was like chasing him down, he said his foot was shaking on the accelerator pedal. And I'm like, oh, it ain't just me. That's good.
Under significant pressure.
Yeah, under significant pressure. But I'm like, that's good. So I'm like, we're not talking about the same thing at all. But I'm like, that's good. Yeah. At least it's not just me. But what trigger? It's like,
oh, there's no way it's just you, man. That is just you're at the front. Yeah. You're probably nervous because like I'm curious. Like, what would you be nervous about? And if I put myself in your shoes, you want to perform. Well, if I'm nervous, I'm at the front. I want this. Like I want this win. I'm at the front. I'm where I want to be. I've worked for this, so I don't want to mess this up. The pressure's on me. So I think most of that pressure is probably driven by yourself.
Yeah. And
then just the fact that like, okay, well, I don't want to be an idiot and self spin into turn one, so I don't want to do that. Tires are gonna be cold, so this car's gonna, it's not gonna drive well off the line. So I'm gonna need to keep that in mind. And then everyone's coming for me, so I'm gonna need to be vigilant of that.
It puts pressure on your shoulders, right?
I think it's just nerves, man. It just matters. It probably matters to you. It simply matters to you. It's important for you to get this right for yourself. So maybe in that moment is the biggest race of your sim career versus Nico Rosberg. That's probably the
biggest race in his career,
biggest moment of his life. So like, I think that so you conquer that. You're like, all right, cool, I can handle that. And then you just get the reps in. Like, I think that's what's happening in the league here. Yeah. Like we flipped them. And we put, if you had a bad race, or if you're new to this, or if you consider yourself slow, or whatever stage you're at in this, we're going to not put you at the front. Have fun. Good luck, because everyone's going to be coming through you, because we're just flipping the results. So
that's smart. I love that you do
based off pace. Like you're gonna get past, but now you have to adapt, man. Like we don't care if you make mistakes. Like just don't, let's not get boneheaded here. But just race your race within your limit. And now let's get all that pressure out of the way, so that when you go to officials, like that's cakewalk stuff.
Right.
Like now you're just like but I think you learn about yourself when you're nervous, right? You're like, what am I nervous about? You just care about, it's mostly just the fact that you care about whatever is happening around you, whether you're like waiting for a date with a pretty girl and you're like, well, you really care about this. You really want this to work out. That's why you're so nervous. Well, when you're sitting on the front of the grid and you're nervous, well, think about it, buddy. Like you got a lot of pressure. You're probably all putting it on yourself, Kevin, right?
Yeah.
So
when I'm in second place, I have no pressure. I'm just like, everything's good. Life is good. I'm in second place. This guy's in front. Yeah. I'm like, and then if I pass him on the last quarter, great. Yay.
Remember when I told you I was racing Daytona the other week? I ended up at the front and I was like, I'm kind of nervous. Like I'm leading the train. How bold am I going to be? Am I going to get a little cocky and start like weaving up and defending both lanes? It's like lap 35 of 80. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that yet, but
you just see how it develops.
Hey, that means it's all nerves. It matters, right? And like I'm curious because when I hear that, I think, oh, that's probably what I'm doing to these poor guys in the development league. But I hope that they have the understanding that this environment, man, like we accept that. Let's accept these emotions. Let's learn from them, because they mean so much. Because if we could get over those hurdles, right? Sometimes I think those could be scary things for people. Like, why am I feeling so much? Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Like maybe this is too much for me. Maybe I'm not built for it. No. Don't get scared. Work through it.
That's good advice.
Just beat it down. Just think, like, change your perspective on this. Like if you're scared of these emotions, like just think about where they're coming from. And at the end of the day, if it just means that you care, you're just this matters to you. What's wrong with that? That's not scary. You're a good person. You're taking this seriously. I'd rather have a field full of people who care than people who are like, this is a game, and they gamify it. And then we move away from the core concept that we're trying to push
that
here.
We're
right?
serious about it.
We are all competitors. We want to take this seriously. We might not be where we want to be at this moment, but anyway, we've gone on about that for a while. But that is essentially what the structure of the.
And I think it's important for people to remember too that it's important for people to remember that it is also, like, when we're sim racing, it is serious because, iRacing is a paid subscription. Like you're not just, playing an arcade game where you're just having fun, whatever. Like it's something that like people take very seriously. But at the end of the day, you're not hurting anybody. You put a foot wrong or wheel wrong or however you want to say it, you're not hurting anyone, right? It's people are going to get pissed off. There will be, stuff, but at the end of the day, everybody's out there in a safe environment doing it. And I think that's what you almost have to come back and remember. And that's what I got to tell myself too when I'm doing it. And now at this point, I just need to say, you almost need to tell me, Daniel, what am I doing? Am I doing MX5? Am I doing stock cars? Am I doing what am I jumping in? It's not going to be Formula though. I can tell you that because I've been there.
Okay, no, I totally agree because I hate those things. I think it's MX5. I honestly, excuse me. When looking back on this conversation, when I finally was like, I'm going to devote some time to getting used to iRacing and just what the heck this platform is. Like, I need to get used to this because I want to be fast here. Yeah. I put myself in the MX5 to learn. And that's where I hit the repeat button. And just like every friggin' week, like, Summit Point, whatever it was, the rotation of Okayama and all these entry-level tracks, like I was just hitting repeat and just logging laps and be like, okay, where's the limit? Then I would go to chase view and see where I could use more track and go watch hot laps and be like, okay, oh wow, he really sent it there. So there's grip there. All right. I have to turn in really early and he's not going down a gear there. So I'm just doing that because audibly it sounds right. Okay. And then it just expands your thinking and then you just keep pushing. I don't know. This is how I do it. Yep. For you, in my opinion, it would be the MX5. So you could get loose to that real mechanical experience, like mechanical grip experience from iRacing. So you can really get a feel of like, oh, this is how much it's going to move on a car with like no downforce, but like it's still light, has a good amount of speed to it. Not speed, but you know what I'm saying? It's light. Course, so it could kind of get going. And then I honestly think I've always said, I don't know how far I am from the truth here, but like I've always said that car is the best car iRacing could give to you to prepare you for the rest of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's the best base.
You master that car, man, and I think you have almost exactly what you need to go like sprinkle in what you've learned into any other category. I just think that'll break you in and give you the roundest, most well-rounded, I guess, return on your investment into going to try to learn this sim. I don't know some people might say it's like the GR. I wonder how many people would say the V or the 1600, because you'll get back a different racing it. You can't make contact like you can in the MX5. We've seen in our leagues, like,
that's the thing.
Like,
yeah.
The way they get tangled and the way they get messy, like, you don't want that. So it changes your commitment level. You know that you can slide into a corner, and if you brush doors with a guy, you're going to get away with it. So there's a bit of, I'm really curious how things are going to go when we move to that car, and how the grid's going to treat it and whatever. But if I were you, I'd be like, I'm going to have to be like, don't waste your time on street stocks, even though I really want you to. I would say go to the MX5 and just hammer it out full season of the as much as you can of the development league. Run as much time trial as you can and just repetition. See where you could find the pace. Throw in your laps. Hit a plateau. Like, go somewhere, hit a limit, and then if you don't think you can find any more speed on your own, don't just do it to exhaust the option because we have it. I would say throw your hot lap in there once you think you're genuinely stumped. and then let's see what the coaches could squeeze out of you. Then let's see by race day where you're at, and then throughout the season, incident count, overall pace, where you're at in the field. Like, I'd love to see that kind of progression. I'm putting you to a lot, because now I want to get you in on the whole George thing, and I want to get you in.
Yeah, let's do that too. Let's do that too.
But I'm telling you, man, like, I think that's what it's going to take. And then I think I would like to know if my theory is correct or not, because this is all experience based. But at the end of that dev season, which is going to be 3 months ish, whatever a iRacing season is, which I'm pretty sure is 3 months, maybe just under, because there's that week 13.
Right.
Just MX5 all the time, man. You're not gonna not have a good time.
No, it's true. It's true, because the MX5
a bad day in that thing, you're sliding around, you're having a good time. Like, come on,
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So okay, so I'm gonna say for this
long-winded answer. I feel like I rambled there. My bad.
No, you didn't, because here's what's great. Anybody who's listening to this that was wondering the same thing that I am, like, how do I get started? You just explain that. So you could literally clip that and say, we could clip it and put it up and say, this is Daniel explaining how to get into it. And I think that was great, because it gives me information. I'm close to
the truth there, man. Like, I'm not a pro. I'd love to see, what do they think, and what variations of this opinion exist out there. Because I'm not a pro. I'm just another dude. But maybe that helps me. I'll say dumb it down, like,
well, it puts it into perspective. Yeah, exactly. It's not to say it's not necessarily it doesn't have to be the most efficient path. It's the one that is going to be the most effective, what it's going to teach you, and say, like, okay, yeah, I can actually, like, and build that confidence and all that. So we're gonna do that, and then if you want to go and do some open wheel with George and some coaching, we can do it together. That's fine. But definitely,
I want to see how close you can get, because if we look at it, like, what I like to see is in the dev leagues that we have, there's been a standout driver over the last little bit. That's Justin Blinn. So he pops in. We have no limit on the I rating that can come into these races, right? And he's significantly higher. He's like 5K, something like this. And what I really like to see is the gap shrink between our regulars who are here every week to Justin. And he's not just walking with races anymore. Like, Phil's come out of freaking nowhere. Philip Wong, for those who are listening. So he's a member of our community. We've been seeing him just work his way up the timing sheets. That guy's logging like hundreds of laps a week on the time trial. So, like, don't think you're gonna that guy's gonna probably outdo you.
And Phil, if you're watching or listening to this, just know that you burst my bubble, because when I did the time trial for the 1600s at Okayama, I set my time and I was the only guy, and the next thing I know, I see Phil Wong and he's like 4 seconds faster than me. I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm done.
He's been so loyal. Like,
I'm teasing, but
it's
really
true. He really does call this place home, and like he's been like, I remember I changed over the time trial sheet one week, and man, like, I went in and I think I refreshed it the next morning, and Phil had already ran like 20 or 30 laps, or maybe even more than that. Something that caught me off guard, and I was like, Jesus, this guy's out here putting the work in. But it's been nice to see Nigel and Phil. So Nigel Rowley, I don't know how you say that guy's last name, and then Phil, Justin, always at the top. We got this new guy now, Franz. What did I say his name was? Franz Moritz. I noticed that guy was on the timing sheet. I've missed a few races because it's playoff season, and I got priorities. Like, I gotta cheer on Montreal, but like, I've seen some names creeping up there, and I'm like, man, it's like Mark Jackson's not winning all of our races anymore. Like, he's like a 10th, 11th, 12th place guy now. Like, I love it, man. Like, I love seeing that there's movement.
A lot of talent coming in. Exactly.
Now, whether that's maybe people, like, it's springtime, so a lot of people are arriving and driving, like, they're not putting as much work in because they're going out more or whatever. Like, that's probably part of it. But, like, I don't know. I like seeing. I've noticed the gap shrink, and I just really hope it's a result of it's probably the whole package, right? Repetition, trying to find the time. I want to say I haven't really seen a whole lot of people use it, but we have coaches here that will review what you believe to be your limit,
right?
so
Which
that
is huge.
you can try to find the gaps, right? To be like, oh no, you're overthinking this, you're underthinking it here. Change your perspective a bit and work with you to kind of chip through. And that's stuff I want to see people use that to see if we could genuinely give back and like contribute to speed from the grid. But for the most part, I don't know what these guys are doing, if they're just logging laps and practicing and going through it. But like, I feel the gap to Justin, who seems to be setting the benchmark, has been shrinking. And I'm just curious, where what are they doing? Where are they going to go find the speed? I think it's kind of cool to have a rabbit to chase. So I've been liking the dynamic. I don't really have an issue with it. I think at some point I might have to probably put a limit on IR once we get to the point where we're filling grids and are we seeing the same winners every week. But I gave it some time, and now the pack is catching up. So
there you go.
Eager. I like watching everything go down.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's great. And it's nice to see that growth, and how popular it's become and everything. So it's been great. And I think
I can't wait to see you in it, man.
Oh yeah, man. Well, I'm gonna give it a try. Like I said, I'm gonna at least commit to trying that. Like I said, I tried this Formula cars, didn't vibe with it much. So I'm gonna go to MX5. I've had some experience with MX5 several years ago, so at least it won't be completely foreign. So I'm gonna give it a try, and then
you're gonna love the MX5, man.
We'll unpack that during the next podcast, because now I know we were talking about trying to keep this to like 45 minutes, an hour and a half. I just noticed we're already in an hour 10. So so let's move forward. But that's a great conversation, though. I love it, and I hope everybody's enjoying what we're talking about. But I appreciate you giving me sort of a path forward, and that's something that I think other people can follow as well. So.
Really I hope it works. And then like, I think we're all ears here. Like, we're so young in this program. This program hasn't, really, in my opinion, like taken off yet. I think we've just built what we've been hoping for, which is just a nucleus. So that we could start to be like, hey, so like, how have we helped? Have we helped? You guys. And I think for the time being, I think you could really see like, they stick together, they support each other. There's a lot of post-race support. They break down video. I like that. I love that stuff, man. Like, I really want to be able to, like, after the race, or in the days after the race, have a coach review the video. Maybe not the day of or the night of, because our races end quite late. But excuse me. I think I'm trying to find a consistent schedule where we can unpack the races and try to give back even more from that. I think that those were quite constructive when we were doing that, when Amar had the time, and with end of season exams, and the coaches were tied up with Pecna, and now everyone's firing up their cars to get ready for race season. George is already racing. Christian's already cars. Gosh, Christian, I think Christian won a race.
He did win. I think it was at Road Atlanta. I know he had a big off from a stuck throttle. That looked bad, but he bounced back, and he's
stuffed that thing.
It was scary. And he said he even got they thought he might have had a concussion, but he was okay. So so it's good. But it just shows
Charles is probably racing soon, right? Jean's not racing anything yet, I don't think. The poor guy, but
he's gonna get there though. He's gonna get there. He's got the talent.
Yeah, he's sorry, Charles is driving. He's doing more stock car stuff this season, so he's probably prepping up. I think he sent me a text the other day where he's just been really busy getting everything ready. So I'm trying to like bring on more coaches that like maybe don't have as many like real life
racing commitments.
I'm trying to stretch out our coach roster so we could actually like just keep a good rotation to cover what we got going on. Because I think when I started driving, I always wanted to have kind of like, a place that I could go to that I could just learn from. It didn't need to be a huge commitment. I didn't want to I could take bite-sized chunks of information and just not drink from a fire hose all the time and commit to learning. I could go and be like, hey, can you, like, what do I need to do here? I'm stumped at this corner or this one track or this one layout or this one car. And then, but in here you can go in and you can say like, hey, George, I'm, or whoever, like, I'm an open wheel guy. I need some, Christian races Formula 1600. So I'm surprised no one's gone like Christian, I'm really struggling in this thing. Like I can't, like it's mechanical grip. I don't understand it. Like, can you like break that down for me real quick? Just like send me something.
He did
Like it doesn't
actually. He
need to
did for
be.
me actually. When he first
Yeah,
came on, I had posted a video and he broke it down. It was
yeah.
awesome. Like
And
he's
I
got
think
so much
I think
knowledge.
it's a commitment thing on both sides.
Yeah.
Like they should commit. Like the community should commit to like throwing questions at them. Like don't bother them. I'll bother them. I'll call them for crying out loud, and then I'll
I
be like,
didn't say
guys,
it,
they're
guys. It
loading in for
wasn't me. It was
questions.
him.
And then just brain tease them.
Yeah.
And then they don't need to commit on the other side. Like they could just yeah, you know what you're doing here and there, and just give them a quick little, just some insight, a little bit of depth, and then just let them go and run with it. And I think those bite-sized pieces, like we could all contribute to that. And I think that's what I'm trying to create here,
Yeah.
to allow for that to kind of exist. And hopefully we're in the motion of that. We've seen even Adrian, our Namibian guy, like he's I'm pretty sure he's racing this season. He raced F4 last season. Oh man, I don't even know if I can't even tell you. I can't remember if he's actually committed to racing something. I'm pretty sure he is. And Amar, I think, is the only guy that doesn't race in real life, but he's got his own coaching services. He's in school, so everyone's kind of got their own commitment. So there's going to be like gaps to like when people might respond and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But we could break it here too, which I haven't announced to the community yet. But we have a new coach coming on who will be specifically focusing on you know who he is, but he'll be specifically focusing on stock car stuff, and that's the best driver that we have on iRacing in the country. He's going to be helping out David with the stock car development league, and kind of acting as a bit of a consultant. And that's Connor Yurashak from
National talent.
He is huge. Yeah,
available.
He's a. I'm not. Hold on. That sounds like I'm like putting him above the rest. He's the stock car guy.
Yep.
And he's been really willing to like help us out here. I felt like it's a no-brainer. Like I was like, man, look at this guy. Like we got to get in touch. So I got in touch with him, and I asked if he kind of wanted to be, a part of this, and not in a fixed capacity. I think when we started here, we kind of had some fixed commitments, and that sort of put us in a bit of a hole with like availability and
because fixed commitments we have the sim racers that are able to more take that on, like so Jordan, Nathan, like so those are the people in our community that are able to,
and those guys like Jordan, Nathan, Joe, all
exactly.
our team,
Joe,
Matt, like all these guys, David, like all these guys are so Xavier, like the whole damn team, like they're so committed with their own, like they put their own time forward. I'm so freaking grateful for their willingness to commit to this. But they certainly take it on. Like
I think they're able to commit to it more
guys
because they're here, and they're able to commit to it more because they're doing that as their thing for the week, and so they're not. I think for the coaches it's just a little harder because they're out there racing. So they don't have the,
and you know what, to get to that IR, to get to that iRating level, to get to that competitive level, and to chase down trying to be part of esports teams and sim racing competitive teams, you need to commit to working on it. Now, whether they're committing to doing that or they're just scrolling on their phones, I don't know. But, there's always, there's so much commitment that goes into that and into the grind. So I think having a wider roster of coaches is good so that we could just contribute when we can, monitor the community. We're still working on that, try to get the boys to respond and get them in there. But if you ping them enough or ping me enough, I'll go bother them and like use them, like they're all kids. They'll learn it eventually. But so Connor's joining us. So for anyone who doesn't know Connor, I saw he was on CTV News Calgary or something. I don't know. I can't even remember. Like after the holidays, and I was like, who the heck is this kid? And he was the overall champion for the NASCAR collegiate, whatever the heck that series is. For a guy that like is in my role, I feel like I should be a bit more in tune with that kind of stuff. But I think I do my work, and then
you are in tune because you got him on. If you weren't in tune, we wouldn't even be hearing
about
it. So
I guess I don't go out of my way to like observe what the actual ladder is and go out of my way to watch the races. I like to disconnect sometimes and like watch some hockey and like walk into walls for a little bit. So do some Gen 4 racing. So Connor was, I didn't reach out to him right away because I was like, I don't know if I should do this? Like, we does our development league kind of like need something like this? And then I think one day I was like, to heck with it. I'll reach out and I think I know what to ask for, kind of thing. And I was like, listen, I want to kind of keep you close. Obviously, I'd like to contribute to anything or at least help, you know, not just understand what you might need to break through and to get into the Coke series and what kind of support. I think that'll be really interesting because NASCAR is going to become something that we're going to get into at some point. Yeah, we have, it's the most competitive, series in Canada, pro series in Canada, really. So if you look at just what we have, outside of like Radical, Cup Canada, and everything else, so like I think it's gonna be something we get involved into at some point. And I kind of asked them, like, can you be a consultant and just kind of like help us like navigate like what it took for you to get there, what kind of gaps could we fill, like when you were just starting and you were learning and kind of growing up through, like what as a country could we have done more if we were present years ago, and to help you get there faster or to help you get there with more support, whether it's mentally, physically, what did you need? Did you need coaching? Did you need setup guidance? Did you need networking and contact? Like what could we do? So that's the goal with Connor. But on the other side, I asked him, can you support and act in the same way as our coaches do to support the stock car development league, and just act again, just as a brief point of contact. Someone has an oval, review that they want to have done, or they just kind of want to get a little bit of insight from Connor. Like, we're not going to be writing books to one another, but like, let's just, like, if Connor's willing to do it, like, let's skim what we can and help educate and give back to the drivers so that they see him as a target. Like, he's the rabbit we're all chasing. Right. He's like 9,500 something. Is he like 14th in the world in stock cars? Like something crazy like this in iRacing. So he's gotten there. Yeah. So now we can use him and say, like, well, use him. It's not what I want to say, but use him as an example. Like, you can go up and through this. So we're going to try to work together to see, like, consult us on what you think we should do and what you think of what we're doing. And then be a resource for the drivers. Let the drivers use you. Let's see if the drivers will even use you, because people aren't using the coaches, but I'd love for them to use the coaches. And then maybe we could get to a monthly classroom with Connor, and run some drills or something. I feel like that might be fun. Maybe in the future we could try to roll out actual curriculums like we tried to do with the 1600 series, but I just don't think we're there yet. But actual curriculums where we could be like, all right, like classroom setting, we'll keep the donation, pretty low, so that we could pile people in here, and then we're going to get the whole class to kind of move forward together, almost like what me and you want to do with George there.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the goal here with Connor. I haven't announced it yet because I don't know. I've sucked recently. I just haven't gotten around to some administrative tasks.
It's been busy. It's been busy.
But like, yeah, I'm trying to catch up my inbox and everything. Like, yeah. And and so I haven't announced him yet, but if I guess podcast listeners will probably get the first dibs. And then I'm going to introduce him to people, and hopefully we see some engagement there. But yeah, Connor's a good sport. So he will be competing in the Coke series. I think it's going to be competitive. He's got to be competitive. But once he gets there, he'll be racing for Letarte eSports. So Steve Letarte.
Yeah. That's a big
pretty name. Sure Steve Letarte won a championship with someone.
Wasn't he Jeff Gordon's crew chief?
I was thinking so. Yeah,
that's pretty sure he was, because there was Ray Everingham and then there was Steve Letarte. So it must be that must be it. Unless
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he may have won one with Gordon, or
let me check this. I'm gonna check this right now.
With Jimmy or something. Like,
maybe it was Jimmy, but I know he's a Hendricks guy for sure. Hendricks.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's in NASCAR competitive. Like, he's more of he kind of got done what he wanted to get done. So now he's like a media guy, and he pretty much just like runs this esports program, and it doesn't really need to make him any money. He just kind of runs it because he knows that the talent pool and.
Yeah, he was okay. So he was. Oh well, maybe he didn't. Well, he was Jeff Gordon's crew chief.
He won a championship with someone.
Because no, you're right. He was Jeff Gordon's crew chief from 11 to 14, and he was also not 11 to 14. Sorry, 05 to 10, and then he went over to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 from 11 to 14.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if he's got a championship though. Let me see.
I could have sworn he got a championship somewhere. Because I thought that's why he retired. She got a championship. I could be wrong though.
Maybe, yeah. Not sure, but yeah, I'll have to check that. But either way, I mean, it's
right.
It's talent in the sport, right?
Let them do it. We'll let the public know.
They'll let us know. They'll let us know in the chat after the podcast.
All right, and then I think
yes,
the big thing that we should very much be covering is the upcoming or freshly announced. If anyone didn't hit on this or see this announcement from the FIA, was it last week, man? Anyway,
yeah,
the FIA has announced the Global Rally Esports Championship starting on this coming. So we're recording right now. It's Sunday afternoon. This coming Tuesday, it's going to open up.
Yeah, so May 12th, Tuesday, May 12th.
So this looks insane. This was almost a surprise for us, even internally. I don't want to say it was a surprise. I feel like I knew that they were going to activate, and they were telling us they were going to activate on a few new titles, and I saw ACR coming from the moment it came out at the last year's Sim Racing Expo. Like when I saw that come out, I was like, that's the new rally favorite in the space. That thing physics look great, graphics look great. The level of detail top to bottom on that sim looks phenomenal, and I was like, wow, okay, Assetto Corsa is going to dominate the space. Evo looks good, Rally looks good. So I thought it was coming, and then they were like, yeah, we're trying to do something around it. And I didn't know they were going to do this. This is freaking cool. So there's all kinds of places we could start, but I'll break us in a little bit. So I believe, is it 52? Oh, I'm already forgetting. Is it 52 drivers that qualify?
56 countries? I think 56.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Because it's in the division. Each division is 8, except for Europe, which will be 16 drivers because they're splitting north and south. They're doing north and south Europe together. Right. Every other division is going to be 8. So yeah, I believe it's 56.
Yeah, my bad. All right, and North America has quite a few countries in it, but obviously we're included in that. So us, the US, I think it actually might stop at Ecuador.
Yeah, it encompasses most of Central America and the islands.
Yeah. Yes, and the islands too, because I believe Haiti was even in ours.
Yeah.
Weren't they?
I believe
but I can't remember where the equator is and all that. Me and you didn't draw a line through it when we were
no, we didn't. But there is a list. Like if you go on to
it's not traditional like Canada, US, Mexico. It's we got a lot of Central American countries that will have a shot to qualify in North America. So
like if you're one of our listeners from outside of Canada and you're not sure, because we do have a lot of members from around the world that's still in our community, even though it's Canada, which we appreciate. We love you guys. So if you do want to go see the list, if you go to Assetto Corsa's website, they have like a little article they did on it, and then it will lead you to the FIA's website, which then has a document that shows how the divisions are, but for the different countries. But definitely, like, there's some stiff competition in North America, and I just want to make a point here of how intense it's going to be. This is like the top 8, okay? So it's all going to be time based, best times. So you got to put your best foot forward. And Pecna had 40 drivers for North America. This is 8.
Yeah, this is just going to be 8. Yeah. And this is so Pecna, I think was it? Oh, I actually don't know if it was truly the same parameters as what this current North America entailed. Right. I don't know if that many Central American countries were.
Well, I saw it. There was a top 10 driver in the Pecna standings from the Dominicans. So
yeah,
I think it did encompass.
He may have had. I believe he is a dual citizen and has permanent residency in the U.S. So but I can't remember because there might have been I think there was quite a few drivers that tried to qualify for that from outside, but I do think it may have been Canada, U.S. because I don't know. There was no Mexicans on the grid. So anyway, interesting parameters there. However, yeah, this is, I think, a wider pool. So this has got to be pretty competitive once we get the ball rolling here. I don't know any rally drivers personally. So just within my circle and just with people who might be in and out of my inbox, like I think there's probably a few people who I know that like have dabbled in it. I don't know how seriously they've ever, committed to it, but this is this is an interesting playing field here because it's a newer sim, and this is just simply top 8 in the region. So it could be filled with Americans, it could be filled with Mexicans, it could be filled with anyone from Central America that could be trying to compete. I think Panama, Barbados, some of my friends down there are going to be competing in it, I'm sure, because they're real world rally drivers, so they're going to give that a shot.
Absolutely.
So, man, and we haven't even talked about where this is all going to go. So
this is pretty cool, guys.
So this is the top 8 in every region are going to end up into this huge pool of qualified drivers. So to qualify for this, I confirmed during one of our meetings, was you do not need, the key detail, you don't need a license to try to qualify for it. You don't need any clearance from us. You just need to just know which country is your home country, because essentially what we need is the passport and I believe permanent residency. I'll have to check the regulation document again if permanent residency needs to be part of that as well, because the dominant thing is always like to which passport you hold. And then so that's wide open, right? So it could be top 8 full Americans, could be top 8 full Mexicans. We have no idea how that's going to go. That's going to be competitive. Once you're into that pool of 56, right? We just said that?
56, yeah.
So each region, so North America, South America, whatever, it's Europe, MENA, I don't even know what the other ones are. I can't even remember right now.
I think it's like Europe, not that it matters, but I think it was like Europe, MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa. They've got Africa, they've got Asia and South Pacific, I think. Then you've got Europe, which is two, like the North and South combined. North America, North America, and there might be one more, but I don't know.
There might be one more. I can't remember.
Else, but either way, it's some pretty large groups of countries in each of these.
Yeah, and oh gosh, where was I going? So each region, each one of those, you could call them divisions because I'm thinking hockey right now, but like each region is going to have their own on-site qualifier, which I believe, isn't it, each region only ends up qualifying 2 drivers.
Yeah, it's a very small amount. I can't confirm that exactly. There's a lot of details. I just read the document yesterday and a bit this morning, so I didn't get all the details. But
I'm terrible with reading these things, but we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it. Is the entire effort that's being put forward, but and I haven't. This whole thing starts. I just haven't had a chance to do like some obviously like deep diving on this. I've been trying to prepare and kind of just make sure that once drivers are ready to qualify, that maybe we could try to help support them. That's a whole conversation in itself. But I believe they go down to 2 drivers per region, and then we move on to some really spicy events where they continue to eliminate drivers. So on-site qualifiers per region. We don't have a location just yet for North America, so we don't know if it'll be in the US, if there's anyone bidding from Canada, if it'll be in Mexico, potentially even on some of those Central American countries or islands. So it could be anywhere there. I have no idea where that's going to go. Some destinations over in Europe and whatever, and whatnot. Some regions, I believe, do have locations already announced for their qualifying events. So I think that's quite a commitment. I also believe that I believe that there's a supplier for this championship that actually, unless I'm wrong, I read it in the document. Advanced Sim Racing, the Canadian and D-Box. Are the official suppliers for this. Nice. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to apply to the regional qualifiers or if that will be down to the local ASN there to supply equipment. If it was my guess, I believe it would be Advanced Sim Racing and D-Box sending and possibly setting up every regional qualifier. That would be quite a commitment. So I would suspect not. These are just some questions I haven't been able to ask yet because I believe we had this meeting Thursday last week, Wednesday, I can't remember, but anyway, just having to do other stuff in the meantime, and I'm volunteering here. Unfortunately, sometimes I got to prioritize paid work, but anyway, so what's important is I believe at the end, some of the big events that they end up going to, which is I believe once it's like 24, 16, 8, and whatever, they go to, there's Macau. I think there's going to be a Macau event later in the year, and they're going to be there as part of this elimination process. And I can't remember if there is an event in between that and the final. I think they might just go straight to the final in Shanghai. And then Shanghai is the FIA awards ceremony. So you will be, I believe there is a process of elimination that week. And then you end up competing for your championship. And I believe the final two race it off against one another at the gala or whatever that
in Shanghai,
however all that stuff works. I haven't been privy to how that event usually plays out, but holy moly, like they're putting them on big stages
in front
in big events here
of world champions.
I'm not sure if one takes part during a rally late in the year. Can't remember. There might be some discussion of trying, like some regions are trying to line these up with local rallies as well to try to put it in front of fans and drivers. But the FIA has decided that this is going to take part in the final is going to take part during the FIA awards, and you're going to have the pressure of and I believe those on-site events are going to have like Macau and everything after Macau. I believe all that's going to be advanced sim racing providing that equipment, and I believe D-Box as well. I think there's going to be a motion from the I think the single pass I made over the regulations document, which please excuse my ignorance for now. I didn't take a super deep dive on it. I kind of scanned over it, and it's hard to. I had to focus on what do the people need to get qualified for.
Yeah, exactly. And which is all that matters at this point. Let's be honest.
Because
if you don't qualify, it doesn't matter.
The bat?
Yeah.
And to what parameters? Like we haven't been issuing international esports licenses for terribly long, right? So Elise is busy with the Grand Prix coming up, and we're just so small that I'm just trying to be like, what do I need to just make sure that I could tell drivers, yes, you can attempt to qualify, and then once you're there, here's the guidelines to then squeeze out any details of whether you're actually eligible. Right. So I need to make sure that I know that stuff off the bat. And essentially Canadian citizen, I believe permanent residency is also required. And you have to hold, I believe you have to hold a passport. If you don't have a passport, permanent residency is something, and you're going to need a passport to start traveling around here. Yep. That's all you need to just go know who you're going to represent to go run laps. But other than that, you don't need anything. You don't need a license. Just go run laps. If you qualify, we'll issue you a license.
You deal with it once that happens. Yeah.
We don't really have a steep process right now. We're still so young. So, it's a bit of a vulnerability, but like we will find a way to justify issuing you this license. And then once you have the license, you are then going to be starting to pack your bags, and the FIA will fund your movement between events.
That's pretty cool.
To each regional event, right? So this isn't something that happens all the time. Obviously, we typically need a lot of sponsors or partners who will be able to try to chip in, and we can build a package where we could actually fund people to go everywhere. But I believe this is all either going to come down. I believe the FIA is covering all this. If not, it will be the local ASN that will be helping you throughout the process. And then at the end, you get to, not that we're going to say that it'd be awesome to have a Canadian at the end, but that's wishful thinking. I'm just going to keep myself like, hey, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
But the whole purpose of this thing there's so much to unpack here, and I think we've covered the basics, but they are putting esports like back in front of them, and it is a significant priority, and it is now being put in front of, major, what I would say highly invested in, end of year assemblies for them, where the most important, the most influential figures will be around to now witness what esports can deliver in terms of commitment, execution, overall competitiveness. And I just hope that throughout the entire process, right? Like I think the Mohammed there said that he wants to double global motorsport participation in the next decade, and I think this is a reflection of that ambition of trying to, because we know what's here. It's a talent pool, and you're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, no.
If you're very committed, you might have a $10,000 rig at home, and obviously that could seriously balloon if you got like the big motion stuff and a dedicated setup, right? But this is what we're all heading towards is they are making it a priority. They are putting in front of as many officials and high-ranking officials and countries as we can. So when everyone is together towards the end of the year on the FIA like yearly calendar, they're putting esports in front of as many as they can, so that we could all learn and we could all expose. And this is I want competitors to show true competitiveness. Don't let the industry down. Like, represent yourself well and drive with respect and show the same kind of respect that we expect out of a real world athlete or driver, so that we continue to prove legitimacy around sim racing. And then at the end, you're going to be crowned the global rally champion at the FIA awards ceremony with everyone there and Formula One drivers and team representatives.
That's amazing when you think about it, right? And let me
so the pressure is on though.
Yeah, let me put something, a little point in here, okay? That I think that just, if it hasn't sunk into people, where you have to see how important this is, okay? I'm going to use hockey as an example, very quick example, because I know you enjoy hockey a lot. So when you play hockey, right? It's an intense sport, right? You get beaten, you get battered, you get you need to skate well. No offense to people that play hockey esports, but you're going to learn plays and you're going to learn how the game works, the game of hockey works, from the esports side. Your Xbox controller is not going to translate to how to actually play hockey. So you can't, one doesn't go to the other. However, if you go to get your pilot's license, okay, well, in Canada, I don't know about other places of the world, but in Canada, you can apply a certain amount of simulator hours to your hours that you need for your pilot's license. With sim racing, because of what the FIA is doing now, we are bridging that gap. There was a gap there before, and now it's there, where you can actually get a license for international competition through the ASN. And you are now able to go and say, hey, I can just jump in, I can show my talent, and now this talent scouts will now be looking at people in sim racing to be able to go drive real cars, because it can translate directly, because now you're using the same, other than the movement, which again D-Box is able to simulate to some extent as well. You're able, it's all the same controls. The control surfaces are pretty much identical. So that's what, even now with with the new electric power steering in the race cars and things like that and whatever, it's like it's the same, right? So so you guys need to understand that, like, there's no longer a barrier where you're like, I don't have $100,000 to go race for a season to show my talent. You can now start doing it here. So if you put in the work and you carry yourself, like Daniel said, like a real athlete, do your socials properly, be good with media, you can really make a name for yourself. And I just want to throw that out, because I think people need to realize that.
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. And I think that's what we're all trying to prove, is that the talent pool in sim racing should be taken seriously. And I think that there's still probably a stigma. I think you're seeing enough people now translate from sim into reality and being like, yeah, it does give you a foundation. There is a wide talent pool out there. That's good. That's good to know what the best of the rest are, because sometimes when you go to the local karting track or whatever your genuine prospects are that could afford to go racing, you're not always getting possibly the best. You're just getting the best of who could afford it and who has been fortunate enough to put themselves in that position, because you still need time to sacrifice to build the connections and to be able to go out there and prove that you're worth something. So I just feel like that it is sometimes skewed in real life. I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's a guarantee and it happens all the time, but most of the time it's who could afford to do it. So here again, it's still a bit of who could afford to do it, because it still takes time, which is a significant cost to allocate to doing all this. Eventually those with less time hopefully could chip away and get their opportunity at some point. But outside time, it's sim racing equipment's getting expensive, and it does tend to make a difference. So there is always going to be that pushback of like, okay, well, I don't have the equipment to be as consistent. But hopefully we start seeing people break through with less of a committed setup, still like these G27, G920 guys who are able to
people
get
that
there.
have won championships with. I remember the guy that won the Coca-Cola series years ago in iRacing in NASCAR, and he had a he had a wheel like bolted to his desk and his little pedals and his like laptop, I think it was, or something. So it's like it's possible.
I think it's no guarantee, but it's it's going to teach you most of the fundamentals that I think you need to translate over. And I like it. I like putting them in front of major officials at major end of year assemblies for them. So that way it could potentially trickle down, and that exposure could trickle down into countries. Well, honestly, they don't even need to be developing countries. Even solidified countries could take something from this. I think the way that the entire championship is structured out, and it's the commitment that it shows that like, we could do this on the national level as well. Like once you get the resources in, and we're as a group, I think like all of us who are involved in esports at the FIA, we're all trying to sort of see what we could do for one another, and how we could share notes and sort of boost everyone else's experiences in terms of like, what are you guys doing locally, and if you're just starting, how do you do that? If you're at the point where you think you could afford to put together a championship, like what kind of partners does it make sense to reach out to? What kind of numbers do you typically need to hit? What are the expectations for drivers once they get on site and they want to compete? Do you want to do on site versus virtual? Because on site is a headache, and especially here, we're going to fly someone from BC over to Toronto and back again, or Yukon, or wherever they end up coming from. It's like, okay, this is going to be quite a hit. So, these are things that I think, conversations that have been happening for a while. And I think an effort like this from the FIA shows true commitment. And to your point, I haven't maybe elaborated or let my mind run on this too much, but I see what you brought up. That was a key point, because I think essentially what we're trying to do is, I'm curious where this is going to go. And this is just speculation. This is not, no one's ever said anything like this, but how close are we at some point to being able to, whether it's through the FI or private leagues or organizations, to putting a champion, an esports champion, in a car, funding that for a year, right? And where does it happen? What are the logistics of opportunities like this?
Yep.
And at what point could this end up being true scholarship pathway to, an actual funnel of talent filling the grid? I mean, that's a bold statement from the president to say, like, he wants to double motorsports participation. I think we need it. I think talent starts to bleed, especially with how high costs are right now. So that, I haven't asked that question yet, but I have speculated on, I kind of think that's where we're going, or I just think that we're getting close to that being possible. I think is a better way for me to frame that, right? Because I think we're proving more and more that the talent pool is there, and that they're starting to show up in real cars, and that if we commit to developing the industry and the drivers and supporting them, we're probably within the decade going to be able to fund drivers into real life seats. I don't know what that would look like. I'm not going to say I have that kind of knowledge or exposure just yet, but I feel like as an industry as a whole, like, we're heading that way. And I look at this and I'm like, are these the bones? Is this the skeleton to what might get us there? Because it kind of feels like it, man. Yeah. Right. Like, I don't know what you think, and I don't know what the cost to go rally racing. Like, where would you put a driver after all this? Like, we're going off topic now, but
it's not really, because it's important, because that's what this is all about. Because we could say about, it's just that, but again, if we're going to, like, if we were just talking about something that was like, you race, you set a time, you get a prize, we could talk about Logitech G Challenge or whatever it's called, like Forza Motorsports. I think this year it's on LMU or something. But anyways, that's what we'd be talking about. But in this case, we're talking about something with real world opportunity beyond that, right? So it's something where interesting point. where does it go beyond that, and how much does it cost? So
but you can't just put them in a
no,
World Rally Championship car. Those things are ballistic. So
you
like,
can't. But
at what
there is
point on the rally ladder,
yeah,
right? Where do they
exactly.
land if they
So does
win
it
the
Rally
scholarship?
3? I think Rally 3 is like kind of a small entry
Is it
point.
going to be local?
I
Is it
believe,
going
or
to be a
not
local
entry
rally
point, but that's where you
championship?
start. I don't know.
Right.
Like I haven't, to be honest.
We
Like
have
I
rally
got
championships here in Canada, right? Like,
we
would there
do.
be a
Yeah,
seat there for them
yeah,
to be funded through? Does it need to be an international series? Is that going to be part of
yeah.
winning an international esports championship? Do you just end up competing somewhere in Europe, or
Yeah.
don't know? It's a good question.
Yeah. And how does that trend, and how do you feel? How does the driver feel when they are racing through? Because here's the thing, okay? And I'm just going to come out and say it. I think that having done both real driving on a real track and driving in a sim, right? There's still it's scarier in real life, but there is you still got nice asphalt and, groomed
Mm-hmm.
track and all that stuff. This ain't the same. Okay, when you're driving
Yeah.
like 100 miles an hour through a forest with trees on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
that's huge too. So
Very
it's to say,
real
like,
elements.
yeah, how do you put somebody from that experience and then put them in it?
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting to see how that develops. But I think that
Like I said, this is all speculation. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking outside my butt here, but like,
But the
man,
bones are there, Daniel.
I feel like
they really
at
are.
some point, you gotta think, like, could we be close to doing that? If it's not through us, like, there already are scholarship programs that put butts in seats out there. So,
But
like,
I think we can agree though that it's the closest it's ever been.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
By a long shot.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the more we support something like this, and just also the content that can come from that, and like how, like, once that driver gets into a seat, the more we support it, the more we get there, and then we put a driver into a seat, and then we can document that, obviously, if everyone's on board. And I just think of like the things we could learn through that kind of a docu-series, like, not like Drive to Survive kind of thing, but like just vlogging that the whole way through. I would love to see a full package like that at some point come through, and we actually have a true funnel. International efforts like this, I think, they open so many friggin' doors, and then we could end up having someone representing who knows what country taking home that kind of an opportunity, a title, if this actually evolves into scholarships or further, like, more opportunities, or if it's just simply the network aspect of it, and what does that mean for the driver who won it?
Yep.
What kind of opportunities come from just that alone on the esports side? Does it ever translate to something in real life? Is it just another thing on that resume to push it a little higher when he's competing against people who might have money? Like, right? Like, what does that look like? And then what does that do back at home for wherever he's from, right? If a Canadian gets there, like, what kind of media buzz does it generate? And then if there's enough support behind it, there will be attention on it, and then we'll have partners want part of that attention. They want to help create around the buzz that has been created by this opportunity. So by the FIA giving us these endeavors that they are executing, they're sustaining the ecosystem below what we need to get to survive, right? So they're sustaining interest, and they're elevating the ceiling. And then the more interest there is, I think, people like CTV News start to interview Connor Urashak.
Amazing. Yeah, exactly.
And then we start learning about what Connor Urashak is, and why he's been, and even Kevin Foster. Like, Kevin Foster's had his story. Kevin, sorry for anyone not listening, Kevin helped us when we first, like, got off the ground, compete at the motorsports games, and he's also from Calgary, actually, funny enough. And he's raced in French F4. He's got a great story. He's a committed sim racer. Still trying to figure out what his, like, motorsports, like, career path's going to look like and stuff. But I think the more opportunities that are built like this, where they're on big stages, and it's a real competitive environment, you get media who wants to cover it, there's content that's created about it, then there's storytelling that's created about it, and then that creates opportunities for partners to come along and support the drivers, support the entire effort. Then everyone gets exposure, and then finally the kids could get an opportunity. Like, they could actually be able to fund rides, because that's the real world incentive. So along with some other, political, challenges, I think that would apply everywhere, but around motorsports.
Yeah.
But that's the support I think that every driver is going to need on the virtual side. So more efforts like this.
Yeah, because
We're
if you
getting
want to
ourselves
see
there.
how difficult it is to fund real world motorsports and how much this something like this could help, follow Christian Menezes right now and George Griffiths. They are both
Right.
racing, and they talk on their
Yeah.
channel about how expensive it is. So
Yeah,
so this is
those are entire episodes of our own podcast, like that. That's an entire those whole like
Absolutely.
funding that. I got into a really interesting conversation with Christian and his mom back when we were at the charity event. Oh gosh, when was that? January, and that's at HIP, Sim Racing for the Kids. If anyone wants to go check that out, because that's a really cool yearly effort being put on by a Canadian sim racing center. But that was an interesting conversation to have around like what funding looks like and how team culture matters, and like you want to be able to invest that money into a true developmental effort.
Yeah.
Something that was going to give you as much back as you can, rather than just a performance, I think, based effort where you're not, sometimes in certain cultures, you're going to be certain team cultures and environments, you're going to be kind of left out to dry. You do you, right? You work on yourself, you get yourself the speed. Whereas, she believes that, her and Christian believe that they put themselves in a position to get as much as they can back from their efforts and to just grow, as a human as well as grow as a driver, and get as much, business experience and just marketing experience coming back from it, and just what goes into working on partnerships and what goes into creating content. And you want to do something meaningful. You don't want to turn into a billboard, right? So those types of things, the engine that moves behind what propels all that forward, there's a lot more meaning and purpose that could go into those types of projects, I think. And I think it's nice to see that starting to happen in the background, and I like it. I like the shift I'm seeing away from just being a billboard and just getting yourself there and reading the lines versus, actually like having some purpose and trying to revert back to old school and giving back to the community and seeing how you could develop the whole product rather than just push your way up the grid, but you still want to do that. So essentially what I think is this effort is the FIA saying, like, we're taking this seriously and we're going to do everything we can, even with a new title. And I don't even know if that's out of that's not a full product yet, is it? ACR.
No, it's not. It's still early access. So it's 0 point something right now.
It's a commitment on both sides. That whole effort's a huge commitment on both sides for them to prioritize this. They must be close to fully developed. It might be working on some multiplayer, type challenges and stuff like this. And just creating a smooth entry, I think, after early access is probably what their priority is, but they believe they're close enough to work on something like this. The partners and support that the FIA has shown that they have acquired and that they've sealed for the entire effort, working with as many countries as they have to work with, supporting them through the entire process, helping them identify like how to issue these international licenses if they've never done that before. Like we all talk about it. We all like, hey, if you've never done this before, like we're just going to help you just get it off the ground and make it not difficult to obtain one early, right? You don't want to create too many barriers early. We could, as your country's competitive ceiling rises, those gaps will fill. Just let's get drivers there. Let's not crush people's hopes so early. And even early on, like I think people associate the FIA with like it's going to be very professional. I haven't qualified for this yet, and people message me saying like, where do I go apply for this license? And it's like, aha, so you don't have to. You just go and you run laps, and you're gonna end up qualifying for this. We'll reach out to you, and we're gonna help you acquire this license.
It's like Gran Turismo, baby. You finish those trials, and you get a license. Exactly.
Yeah, man. It really is kind of like Gran Turismo is pretty close to like sort of how it works at the FIA,
which is cool.
Anyway, I'm no expert. I'm still new here, but from what I've been privy to, so like that's a huge commitment, man, on both sides. I'm stupid excited to see how this all goes.
I can't wait.
I can't wait to see if we have some Canadians in this.
I know, it's gonna be really cool. Like I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm not gonna be anywhere near the top, but I'm still gonna try it because it's exciting.
I give it a try too. Like I bought the sim for all this to make sure that I'm prepared to help in any capacity. But like I'm like, man, I might want to go. I don't have a handbrake or anything, but I don't know.
And it's relatively cheap too compared to most titles out there because it's still in early access.
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
like really,
I was surprised too
yeah.
when I went to go buy it. Was it like $25 or something?
Yes. So it's like somewhere around there. So like if you want to give it a try, just get it. Go.
It
if
looks
you have,
so good. I'm so new to rally. Like I haven't done rally. I don't know about you, but I haven't done rally in ages. I don't think I've ever committed to rally. I've just been this stock car ogre.
Can I be honest about something?
What?
When the last time I played a rally game like intensely?
Richard Burns Rally.
No.
What?
Network Q Rally from the 90s on PC. Look it up. Look it up. Anybody, if you guys want to make fun of me, look up Network Q Rally, because Network Q used to sponsor Real Rally and then back in the 90s, and they had this game called Network Q Rally. It was on about 6 or 7 little diskettes, and it was like officially licensed, like all the tracks, all the cars and all that, but it even had wipers on the cars and stuff, but it was pretty old school. But yeah,
I hear a lot of drivers still use RBR,
RBR
and dirt and all those things, but like man, I don't know if they're gonna like sort of live up to what ACR is kind of turning into. I see ACR as some people will debate me on that, and I truthfully don't know. I just haven't been involved. Well, just from what I could see, what I've been exposed to, it doesn't look like ACR. I think is going to take the rally crown and be at the top of that space for a while.
No, I think so too, because because RBR is it's still debated obviously, but it's kind of like the king of the hardcore rally simulations. And this is the first time now I've seen people talking and like the community is pretty split, right? So there's like a bunch of people that are saying basically this game is too difficult, it's too hardcore. Why aren't we playing the EA WRC games and stuff like dirt? Fine. But then the other half is like, man, this is RBR reborn. This is like a new this is like what the modern RBR is. That's the new thing. And to say that like, holy crap, the FIA is going like, we're gonna go with the modern RBR. It's like, oh, okay, wow. So I think a lot of people are going to jump into it now, and then as it gets developed more out of early access, or through early access, I should say, I think we're in for some cool surprises, because I mean they've got licensed cars, licensed tracks. It is stages, I should say, and it's some pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, and then right, like I'm also kind of thinking like, what else are we going to get up to? With me being told, without saying too much, like with me being told like we're gonna go and activate across more titles, I'm excited for what's coming now. Like that's a hell of a commitment for the FIA to follow through and to go through all this. It's great to see the commitment on both sides, so much collaboration. So it's just nice to see. Obviously, everybody wants a slice of that pie. Everybody wants to be part of the competitive atmosphere and be part of esports. But it does take a lot of work. It takes cohesion and strong relationships and managing that and going through the stress of doing all this. And it's going to take manpower away from ACR and the teams and the devs and what they're working on. It's going to be a hell of a pilot project, if you want to call it that. Like we're taking your priorities away from as much as we can without interfering, away from developing your title to work on this while you do that. I mean, just think about it. It's commitment on both sides, and it will take a solid team. Haven't been privy to it, but I'm sure it's those are great conversations happening there. And then what else is next, right? Like I don't think they're done. So they've told me they're going to go to new titles, and we're going to try to follow as much as we can to follow along and see how we could support ACR. And this will be such an interesting process to see, okay, where are the Canadians? I'm gonna be like, man, where are they at? All right, what do you guys need? I want Canadians here. Like, what can we do to help you? I don't know. Like, I don't know if we could spend on this, or like, what do you need to get faster? Do you want me to try to network you? Like, what do I do here to support you? What do you tell me? And then to find the drivers, and then maybe hopefully build a community around rally racing, because hopefully this is a championship that can. I don't know, what's this going to be. Is it going to be yearly? Well, are we going to be doing this every year? That's huge. Are we going to be doing massive. It right every other? What is that going to be? I don't know what the future of this effort is, so I want to support it, man, so that it can continue to live on. And then,
absolutely,
I'm just curious what it's gonna what it's going to turn into down the road, not just as its own thing, but what else the FIA has cooking. And coming out here soon. I don't think anything will look quite as committed as this. This looks like they went full. They pushed all their chips in for this one.
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Looking at it,
yeah.
It seems pretty cool. It's like it's almost like not what I expected. I thought at the if we're going to be doing anything around the awards or anything, it'd be the car behind you. Like it'd be an F4, almost like the Motorsports games, what we did there.
Yeah.
And then talk about scholarships and all that. I feel like would it even be a straighter line to put someone in an F4 somewhere in Europe or something? Like I think anyway, tons to unpack on that, but like I just think that we're putting the rally category in front of everyone,
because it is niche.
That's giving them some love. I don't know if they've really gotten much love.
They haven't.
High-end esports or meaningful esports competitions. This to me feels like it's the first one, unless I'm just like checking out.
I'm sure there's been some, but I mean nothing of any extent, because I feel like it's all the rally, like you see with RBR, okay, the fact that is still the greatest, like arguably the greatest rally sim that there's ever been. Right now we're moving to ACR, but like all the other ones have just been really, yearly release games where they're doing that stuff, and they're great. But I mean, there's a reason why RBR is still the greatest, and I think it's because there's never been as much time and development. I mean, yeah, EA's made some efforts, but they're also just trying to pump out a game every year using their license and all that stuff. So really, has there been anybody that's looked at the fundamentals and said, how can we make this that much better, and how can we make this like as great as possible? And I think that's what we're seeing now. And so I've never heard of any
I think the honestly, bones are there, man.
Yeah.
Like I think if you look at like even like Gran Turismo, like they have like championships every quarter almost, and that is a well-funded hell of an opportunity. Like the competitors don't pay anything. We have a Canadian that usually ends up qualifying, if nobody knows, Samuel Cardinal.
Yeah,
I think he's from Montreal. He's been qualifying for a lot of these world championships and world qualifiers. So it's been cool to talk to him and to kind of get his experience as to like where the funding comes from and how supported he is by Gran Turismo and everyone behind that effort, and all the partners who are involved, and how competitive it all is, and going into all that. I think like, wow, I really hope we're kind of getting close to rivaling that, because as of right now, you win that World Rally Championship, eSports Championship, and then like, what are you other than a champion? Yep. Like we're not filling your pockets to give you a shot at furthering your career
right
the way that you would kind of expect maybe after winning something like this. But I don't think those doors are ever really firmly shut. I just think that this is a natural growth thing, and Sony and all these other partners and all these other titles out there, and EA and all this, they might have the ability to work those types of competitions in sooner, or they have done that already. But now with the legitimacy and being backed by strong regulations and being backed by real world, motorsports systems, like how can we then turn this into a actual like pipeline that could produce and fill grids? That's what really excites me, because I'm seeing the bones that might support it in the future. So I feel like right now there's no purse for winning this, but that those days might be coming. And I just think that that's really friggin' exciting that the FIA is building the structure, like the framework of what might support that pipeline in the future. So that to me, man.
Yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. And just because there's no purse, and I just want people to think, this is just how my brain goes, because I've been self-employed for so long. I'm very business minded when it comes to that. But I think right away, I think, okay, so yes, you're going into this and you're going into that, and let's say you do qualify, okay, and you go, oh yeah, it's gonna be cool. Like I'll go to Shanghai, and I'll like if I get all the way to the end and be in front of all this stuff. Start marketing yourself. Like if you qualify for this, I don't care where you live, just start marketing yourself on socials, because this could lead to sponsorship opportunities. So don't take this lightly, because this is not just like a local like little competition.
Something else on your resume, man.
Yeah, it's something else on your resume. So like take it and run with it if you can qualify that. Because I can tell you, I would. If I qualified for that, I would promote the crap out of myself and just say, look, because that could lead to
and that's something that
rights.
we would kind of like to see us even assist you in at some point as well, right? Like I think at some point, like if you look at Connor, for example, like Euroshak doesn't really go out of his way to market himself. He's just raw speed. Love that. You know, and I'm kind of thinking like, what could we do? Could we build a production team? Could we build something that could support our drivers and build the framework of what we need to do to be able to react? Okay, we have an FIA championship starting in it's just been announced. It starts in a month and a half, whatever the hell it is. And then you just, you prepare your team and like, all right, are we flying with these guys? Are we going to their home? Are we recording are we interviewing them? Like, how are we going to support them and kind of give them I guess like a trampoline to a springboard, right? To bounce off of and go to the next thing. How invested are we going to be able to be? What partners are going to be interested in coming along with us to support these efforts? These are real things that like, I think we should be able to help propel drivers who maybe haven't had the time or the vision, the understanding of, creating around yourself. It's not easy to create around yourself. You got to be confident. You got to believe in yourself to start recording and thinking that people are going to want to listen to you and all this stuff. Like me doing this, I'm like, I'm just an idiot. Why am I sitting here doing this? But to an extent, the industry raised me. Like I got raised on a simulator. I always took it seriously. So I think I could contribute something. And as I gain experience, I think these conversations will become, they're already fruitful. I mean, these should start to, really develop over time. And
I mean, this is just us yapping, but but it's going to
develop. A lot of this is just us yapping, man. Like, you'll be surprised how little we put into preparing for these things. Like we just kind of not wing it, but I mean,
we do it. It's fun, usually about like an hour, maybe an hour of time before the podcast, and then maybe some texting back and forth, or maybe a quick phone call.
All right, man, you ready to go? Like you had your caffeine, gone for a run, and then all right, we're gonna sit here and chit chat. But
it works out better at that. Exactly, like and we have fun. We have fun. We hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, hell yeah. But those are things we'd like to try to get involved in, and I want to use all of these experiences and as opportunities to get in touch, like I did with Connor, and like, how could I help you, and how can we build around you, and working with all of our coaches. Like I like asking, like, what do we need to do to help you, and observing what their challenges are, and like use that as we try to build partnerships. And some people who I'm talking to now, and just be like, how can you guys help us out, and how could we help you guys out? Like we're in that process right now. Like we're not Motorsports UK and kind of know all the answers, if there's a way to actually know all the answers. That's ever evolving, but getting creative and seeing like, how could we support these guys? And content's always part of the package there, right? So making yourself more appealing and being able to actually advise and consult, can that be something we could do like full time at some point? I don't know, man. Elise is probably sitting there being like, shut up with your stupid ideas. But at some point, that's got to be something that we could support. If we're not directly involved, I'm sure we could build the framework that we could help people to come together and work on actually executing this with purpose, and not just becoming a billboard, like I said earlier, right? Like telling a real storytelling works and it inspires. And then you build that around, if a Canadian ends up qualifying for this, like, let's talk about commitment. Let's talk about what you had to do. What do you drive on? How'd you start? What'd you practice on? How do you stay locked in? What's your, it's just like interviewing an athlete. Like, what's your procedure?
Absolutely. It's the same
thing. How do you get there? What kind of support did you have? What got you to this point? How crazy are you? What time to the morning do you stay up when you're practicing and all this stuff?
Are you willing to talk to Daniel and Kevin for an hour?
Right. Whose foot did you almost run over 10 years ago when you were trying to figure something out at the racetrack, and you're like, I'm not ready for that. I'm going on the sim, So all that to say, this effort's super cool. Now we've been yapping for like 2 hours.
So it is. So I think we're going to definitely do that.
Fun. That's fun.
That was a lot of fun. I think we hit a lot of good topics. So I think the main thing for everybody to take away today I think your part where you were talking about how to get into it and stuff, like telling me things, I think that's a big thing. But mostly like the big for the end of the podcast is, if you haven't tried ACR, if you have any interest in rally, go check it out. It's pretty cheap right now, and it's just going to get more expensive later. And give it a shot. And you never know. You might find that you do well. I mean, it's 8 spots. It's a little bit daunting, but you never know because again, it's a closed stage. You're not competing against anybody else. It's time trials, and you might be surprised. And if you need a handbrake, there's a little bit of a hack. If you have like a TH88 shifter from Thrustmaster, there's like an analog mode. That's what I do. I've got mine set where I can turn the shifter sideways, and then like
maybe just like unscrew the shift knob and like put a broom handle on it or something.
And just and as long as you
use the paddle guys
shifters,
on the back of the wheel,
exactly.
and then just like yank on that every time you
check if your shifter can do that. If you got like an H pattern shifter, see if it has an analog mode where you can use it as a handbrake instead. If you don't want to invest $200 on that. So
yeah, that's gonna be wicked. It's gonna be wicked to see people try to qualify for this. I have a funny feeling that we got some hidden talent in there. We're gonna get to know some folks and get them into the Discord and tell us about yourself and get in here, man. Like show us where you're at.
Exactly.
I'd love to know who it all is. But I think another key takeaway from here is you're gonna be driving in the damn development league. I can't wait for that.
Yes.
And you might be doing some Gen 4s. I need to stop about that, but that is. You got to do that.
Yes, man. I am going to do it. I am
going
to do it.
We already got the eSports, the ERC boys. They're over there sweating it out. Bryce and Garrick. So you got to get over here and race some Gen 4s because I clear my Mondays for my Gen 4s.
For that. Well, that's what I'm going to have to do something.
And that's a behemoth though. Go dip your toes in the street stock for a while. Get to know David and go run the time trial and see where the pace is at. And then ask Connor some questions. I'll get around to announcing him at some point when I get off my lazy butt and do that. But we need you on track, man. I've started doing it. I'm in the league whenever I'm learning a new car track combo. So
I'm gonna try to jump in. I'm gonna try to jump in as much as I can. So get some time.
I think we covered just about. I think that's it.
Yep. I think so. Everything. So I think we're gonna leave it off with that. And so if you are watching this on YouTube, comment, leave us a comment, and let us know if you have any questions or if you want to.
Did you find that interesting? Were you guys bored at all?
Yeah, exactly. Just let us know and let us know.
Too much?
So there's two places.
It's turning into a talk show more than a friggin' podcast.
Yeah. But hey, it's fun, right? We got a lot of stuff. But let us know on YouTube in the comments. That's one place. But also, we'd love to hear from you guys on the podcast chat. So we have a dedicated podcast chat in the Discord. If you want to come and talk to us about the topics that we were covering today, that's a great place to do it with the community. And if you're not part of the Discord community, then we'll leave the link down in the description and you can check that out. It's free to join. You just gotta come in and join and say hi.
Thanks everyone for listening to us ramble. If there's anything you guys would like to see us cover or any kind of perspectives that maybe we were like super wrong about, like we're just a couple of idiots and like you guys are like, nah, that was not, you guys didn't hit that drum, man. This is actually how it works on RBR or whatever that network queue or whatever that thing was. Anyway, let us know. Like we don't bite, just tell us that we suck and then we'll rethink it. We'll come back and we'll de-stinkify. But that's just be part of the conversation. We have a lot going on in the Discord. If you guys are new around here, right now we're primarily active in iRacing, but we're trying to get out there. Obviously, I need to catch up and get involved in ACR and whatever other titles are out there. Race Room, Assetto Corsa. We're trying to get involved and just doing some basic Assetto Corsa stuff and maybe even AMS2 or something. I know Nathan has been harping about that forever, but we're trying to get out there. So if you guys are interested in getting involved and like helping us host some stuff or helping being part of the volunteer team, or just want to get involved as a driver and fart around on the Discord, join the development league, get yourself, well oiled and just get yourself kind of in motion and into the, like, we'll help you. We got plenty of support.
Thanks you for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody. Good chat.